Jesus slaps them in the face with the scripture that they embrace. These are your stories, he says. The story of God's graciousness to the Gentiles. Fred Craddock talks about the story of Jonah, where God says, Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh, and I want you to tell the people of Nineveh that they better straighten up and fly right, or I will destroy them. So Jonah goes to Nineveh and says, okay, God is going to wipe you out, going to wipe the slate clean of you unless you straighten up and fly right. And everybody did. Everybody straightened up and fly right. Everybody changed their ways. And this is Jonah's reaction. When God saw what the people of Nineveh did, how they turned from their evil ways, God changed his mind about the calamity that he had said he would bring upon them, and he didn't do it. But this was displeasing to Jonah, and he became angry. And he prayed to the Lord and said, oh Lord, is not this what I said while I was still in my own country? That is why I fled to Tarshish at the beginning, for I knew that you are a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love, and ready to relent from punishing. And now, O Lord, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And the Lord said, is it right for you to be angry, Jonah? Is it right for all of you in the synagogue to be angry with me because I have said that we are to be in ministry and mission to people who are outside the club? That I'm not going to focus all of my ministry here in Nazareth? That I'm not going to just pick all of you out and be your bud, but I'm going to go throughout all of the land? I just want to give you an example. I'm going to try to give you a couple of examples of what I mean. How many of you, well, you don't tell me that you buy lottery tickets, but there are people who buy lottery tickets and they buy them regularly. You know, they buy one a week, or they buy them on, I don't know, the big day used to be Wednesday, and they bought, they buy 10 or 20 on Wednesday, and they did it as a routine. And then always the person who seemed to win was somebody who bought one lottery ticket for the first time ever and didn't even live in the country. And everybody said, well, what's that about? What? That person doesn't deserve to win that lottery ticket. I deserve to win the lottery. Or how about this? How many of you remember when you were in high school? You remember who was the most popular kid in high school? Everybody remembers who the most popular kid in high school was. And just think about this. Let's say that your best friend, your very best friend, your dearest friend from when you were a little kid, was dating the most popular person in school. And you knew that you were best buds. Would you expect that you might get a little bit of benefit from that connection? Would you? Come on. At least a date for the prom. You wouldn't expect that best friend from your life to just write you off and pretend they never knew you, would you? You wouldn't expect that best friend from your childhood to just say, well, now that I'm dating the BMOC, or the BWOC, you know what that means. Yeah, big man on campus, big woman on campus, well, good-looking woman on campus. Now that I'm dating that person, I have no further need of you. We would never expect that that person would behave that way. And if they did, there would be hell to pay. Because we would say, what an insult. I have been a loyal friend to that person all of my life. How dare they treat going on in the synagogue there in Nazareth, where people are saying, how dare this son of a carpenter treat us thus? We have expectations. We have a right to have expectations, and now this person has hurled insults at us. What will our response be? Let's throw him off a cliff. Which was equivalent to stoning. You stoned heretics. Well, these folks have decided to become the judge and jury and run him out of town, throw him off a cliff, kill him, and rid themselves of the insult. Hurling insults. It's hard for us to imagine that we would behave thusly in this day and age. It's hard for us to imagine that this story really has anything to do with who we are, because we're Christians after all, and we follow Jesus Christ. And because we follow Jesus Christ, well, we are special. Special. Oh, like the ones in the synagogue. Okay, well, yeah, we're Christians. We have our own phone books. We have our own directories. We have Christian business directories where you can look up somebody who's a Christian businessman, and you can only do business with that Christian businessman because you're guaranteed that that Christian businessman in the Christian phone directory is going to treat you right. People use Christian as a password. God forgive me. But people will come into the office of the church and say, I'm a Christian, pay my rent. Well, no, it's not a password, and it is not a word of entitlement. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are privileged to receive something that other people are not privileged to receive.